So we've got 3 names for a power. Happy with power. Don't have to have any other fancy names. But just if they are mentioned, it's good to know what they mean. And we've got the 1 name for the number at the bottom. So, what does a power do? How could we tell somebody who doesn't know what a power does? Esther.
It means that the number of the power, there's that many of the base number, and you calculate them. So
Very good.
So 5 to the power of 2 is 5 times 5, which is 25.
That's right. That's a very good explanation. So the power tells us how many times. The base tells us what number we are multiplying. How many times we multiply it by itself. So in this case, as Esther said, 5 times 5, and we know that that's 25. We have a button on our calculator. It looks like this. I think. Might be Y to the X. They're different on different calculators. But anyway, that's a number in the air. What that means is we can actually calculate any of these sorts of things using our calculator. Some of us know things really, really well. Some of us can do things really, really well. And others of us need to use our calculator to use it. So if we had 6 to the power of 3, we could use this button on our calculator, and we will be using calculators, so we should start bringing them, to work out what 6 times 6 to 3 equals. So that's going to be 36 times 6, which is going to be 216. Now, I knew that, but I knew that that was the answer without even knowing how to do it. That's absolutely fine for you to use your calculator to do it. You'll never be asked to do it without a calculator. All right? We just have to know what it means. So that's what a power is. Now, the other thing we're looking at today are roots. So, this sign here has a special name. Anyone? Ollie? That is a square root, but the sign has a special name. All right, good, we're learning things. This is great. This is called a surd. So the root sign has a name, it's called a surd. We don't have to know that. It's good, how much we don't have to know, but it's worth knowing for the future. So, as Ollie said, if we just have this sign here and a number underneath, what we are asking for is what number times itself gives us 25. We just worked it over here. 5 times 5 equals 25. So we know that the answer to this is that 5 times 5 equals that. So our answer is 5. Now, this is a square root. Because it's the one we use the most often, we don't write a 2 here. Because we use it all the time, it's kind of like, okay, it's like not writing a 1 in front of x every time we write x, even though we know it's 1x. It's just an x. This is kind of the same in that we don't have to write the 2. But the 2 is actually really important because when we're using this sign, we're only asking for a number that multiplies by itself to give this number. Sometimes we know them, like the one above. Sometimes we don't know them. So for this one, we might use a calculator. But what would be really cool is if we get better at estimating around about where it is. Kaya?
One question, what does EG mean?
EG means, here's an example. All right, this is an example of what we're doing. It actually has a Latin meaning. I can't remember it at the moment, but yeah, it stands for example, even though they don't look like it says for example. So 110 we're going to go, it's between 10 and 11. Because 10 squared equals 100 and 11 squared equals 121. All right, so we've got somewhere in between that, and what we'll get good at doing is approximating. So it's almost halfway. So I'm going to say it's about 10.4 to 1 decimal place. So one number plus the decimal place. I don't know if I'm right or not. I need my calculator to work that out. And I have that button on my calculator. All right? Now, here comes the exciting part. We also have this button on our calculator. This button is the opposite of this button. Now, I can't do these in my head. Some of the really easy ones I can. But here it's asking for, here's an example, the 4th root of 16. So what times what times what times what equals 16? This is a really easy one. Mike, what is it? 2, good. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. So the answer to this, well, I can write it like this, is 2. Quite often we use this one in maths just to see if people can use their calculators properly. But we put it in as 4, press the button, 16 equals, and it will tell us the answer is 2. Emma.
Would essentially it be just the square root?
No.
4.
In this case, it is. That's just fluke. So if I put here, for 4, it would be. Yes, but we're not always going to have 4 there. All right, so